And Dave or Beth, if you can tell me if you can see this.
Looks great.
Okay. And can you
Looks
see
good.
all? Can you see the smaller slides or just one main slide?
Just
one main slide for me.
Yeah, I have it in presentation mode, so perfect. Okay. So here we are. We're going to talk about creating your unique portfolio. Last week was more an introduction to what is a portfolio and why do I want to create it. Now I want to talk a little bit about how you make it uniquely yours so that yours doesn't look like your colleagues or your friends or anybody else's, any other students at Post. It's going to be unique to you. Next week, we'll be talking about how do you use the portfolio in an interview. And there's some very specific ways to do it and very specific ways not to do it. So more time talking about that, and we'll be doing role play as well. Okay, so if you have any burning questions as I'm going through, please stop. I don't mind stopping to ask because I don't have too many slides. So please, feel free to ask questions. And if I assume Beth or David will watch the chat, would be great. Okay. So this is the agenda for tonight. Welcome and introductions. We did most of that so far. Going to do a quick review of what a portfolio is, why create one, designing your unique portfolio, demonstrating some portfolios, and then a summary and questions. So let's get started. Welcome again. Just so glad you're all here. It's been wonderful to have. It looks like we have 63 people on the call, which is really exciting. So thank you for being here. Okay, very quickly, let's review what we talked about last time. So what is a portfolio? It is a collection of those artifacts that demonstrate your skills, your learning, your talents. What I'm going to be talking about here is a portfolio, which is a 3-ring binder that will demonstrate your work. There are e-portfolio systems, and I'm really hopeful that within the next year or so, we will get a system like that at Post, in which students would be able to go on and create an electronic portfolio. A lot of the concepts that I will talk about tonight will also apply for the online portfolio. But because we don't have that system yet, I'm just going to teach you how to do a portfolio in a 3-ring binder. And then, as I said, next time we'll talk about how to use it. So this portfolio is that collection of artifacts. It's a 3-ring binder. It'll showcase your skills, and you want to always focus it on what you're using it for. So you could put a whole lot of things in a portfolio and have a great portfolio, but you might want to take some of those out if you're going for a job interview, and you might want to just leave some really specific things in your portfolio to use in an interview. So we'll spend time talking about that next week as well. So that's why the 3-ring binder is wonderful, because you can open it, you can add things, you can delete things at any time, you can reorder things. So it makes it really easy to do that. And then I just also spoke to you about all the reasons why you might want to use a portfolio. So what is the value in having this? What if you had this and you brought it to an interview? What does that mean? Well, it is an essential tool. You all do a cover letter and you do a resume. And that's what everyone tends to do, right? All candidates are going to be doing that. But if you do a portfolio, it's going to have you stand out. Okay, you're going to stand out among the candidates, because not only can you say, yes, I know how to use Excel and I can do this and that and whatever in Excel. You could say, yes, I know how to do the following things in Excel. Would you like to see an example? And you can pull out your portfolio and show them. So it demonstrates, it proves your ability to do it. It's not just that they have to take your word for it blindly. They get to see that you actually know how to do those skills. So it really supports you in an interview, because there's no guessing game left. You're showing them the actual artifact that you created. It also is a process of self-awareness, because putting a portfolio together, you could probably put 500 things into a portfolio of the kind of things that you've done. But you have to select what goes in there. So there's a process of self-awareness, saying, okay, if I want to demonstrate my skills in communication and my ability to talk to other people and interact and share information with other people, how do I do that? And what am I really good at? Maybe you're really good at doing presentations. Well, then you make sure that you put in there something that you've done a PowerPoint presentation to a class. You had to speak at an agency in your town, or at a town event, or at a family reunion, or whatever it may be. Put in your speech, talk about it in the description, and we'll get to that. It's understanding who you are and demonstrating those skills that you do well. So it's that process of self-awareness. It also helps to enhance communication skills, because you have to be able to talk with them about this. And you have to be able to talk about your communication skills. if you put that in there. So there will always be a description that you put in there, which is what the article is, why you put it in there, when you created it, what skills does it represent. So you put the article, but you're also going to have a page where you put a description. So if somebody looking at this will understand what it is you'd like that to do. Let's see. It shows the original work. This is not a copy. This is your actual, whatever you've done, that PowerPoint you created, whatever that is. And the binder allows you to keep everything in one place. So as you collect things, you can put it in there. And we just talked about the reasons that you could use this. So to kind of recap what we talked about more at length last time is that it's a really good idea to create a theme for your portfolio. What do you want it to be? Rather than a collection of 30 different things, is there a theme? Do you want to focus on your skills? You say, I want to focus on my soft skills, my ability to be persuasive, my ability to communicate, my ability to show initiative, whatever those skills are. That might be what you want to show in your portfolio. You might want to say, I want to show them my analytical skills and things I've done in my math class and things I've done in science classes, things that I have done in my workplace that I'm using numbers and I'm being very analytical. And that could be the basis of your portfolio. Or you could just say, I'm going to do my skills, and maybe there's a section for each one of these and more. Okay. And you might want to say, okay, well, I have a section for my humans. I have a section for my analytical. I have a section for my public speaking and presentation. And you can do it that way. You can also go by functional areas of experience. Maybe you're really good at project management, or you're doing a master's in project management. That might be your whole portfolio. Perfect. Or sales or teaching. So you might want to even, again, take those things that are functional areas out of your experience and do a section in your portfolio for each of those. Or your whole portfolio is based on that topic. You may want to do it based on your resume. What are the jobs that you've held? Always as a resume, starting with the most recent first and going backwards and putting in a few items from each of those jobs. And you could show that, this is the experience that you have. It could be on the occupational focus. Maybe you're an accounting major or you're an accountant. And that's what you want your portfolio to be about. And everything that you put in there is around accounting. You might want to do an eclectic portfolio, which is what mine is. And I'll show you that in a bit. It's just different areas of my career. And I wanted to showcase some of those, and I did that. So think about the theme so that there's some consistency and a clear message in what you're doing. And then from there, what categories do you want to put? What's your theme? And then what are those categories? You might have 3 categories. You might have 7 or 8 categories, depending on what you want to put in here. So as you can see, there's no set way to do a portfolio. It is far more about what works for you. What you want to showcase. Okay. What I used last time, I talked about a student who she was a management major. In her portfolio, she decided it was going to be all about management. So she did a section on her internship, which was an internship for 2 years. And she did it, it was a management training. So she put in her job description. She put in comments from customers. She put in her evaluation from her supervisors. She put in the final project that she had to do for her internship. Another section was all her coursework around management and showing the different management skills that she had. It was actually management and leadership. She talked about the leadership roles she held on campus. She was an RA. She was captain of the soccer team. She was on the Student Athletic Advisory Council. There was another section. Oh, she did a section about herself. And I always recommend that you do this. Recruiters want to know who you are as a person. So her section was about international travel with her family. And she went to these different countries and what it was like to hear people speaking in a different language all around her and the places she visited and the history and what she learned and how it opened her eyes. And she put several artifacts from her trip in there and she wrote a description about what that was. As I said, employers want to know who you are as a person. So maybe you love to cook. Are there some recipes that you created that you could put in there as a picture of you cooking? I had a student once who used to love to write music and play guitar. He put some of his music that he had written in there, and then he recorded some of his songs and put the CD into a folder in there. So potentially the recruiter could listen to it. So just think about what is that theme that you want to carry through your portfolio, and then what are the sections that you want, okay? Here's a partial list of some of the things that can go into a portfolio. So if you say, I have nothing, you probably do, and you probably have a lot of work that you could print out and put in here. And from here on, start saving things. I tell students, get a box, that proverbial box under the bed, and just put stuff in there. Things from classes, things from volunteer, places that you go, whatever that may be. I had a section, and I don't know if it's still in here or not, about I love theater. So all the theaters that I've been to, and I put some playbills in here from the theater productions and listed some of it that I've seen and why I love the theater. So, think about what makes you different and you unique. Another student who knew Greek really well, her family was Greek. So she put in some English that she translated into Greek and talked about that and how beneficial it has been for her to be bilingual. So think about making this very unique to you, okay? But there are a lot of things out there that you can do. Maybe you created a flyer for an event. Maybe you've got a PowerPoint you could put in here. If you want to put in a paper that you've written as an example of your ability to write well, you don't need to put in 30 pages. You could put in the first 5 and say, I'm putting the first 5 out of 30 in here so you can get a sense of so you don't have to put great big things in here is my point. Okay, if there's any questions, let me know. So when you go to put the portfolio together, you're going to need certain items. And on the top right, you can see a 3-ring notebook. They come in all colors. And last week, the question is, what color do I want to get? Blue, orange, purple, green? It's up to you. It's also think about the organization you're going to be interviewing with. For instance, if you want to interview with banking or finance or a CPA firm, you probably want to stick with a black or a white or something kind of conservative and perhaps not a pink portfolio. Maybe you're a graphic designer or something in the arts and you want to, be a little more creative with color on your cover. That's great. Get a 3-ring binder that has a plastic sheet cover on the front. As you can see, this one has a white piece of paper with the name on it. So you can print your name, and I'll show you mine in a minute, and slide it in there. Okay. You're going to want to use plastic sheet protectors to protect your items. And let me give you an example. I'll pull one out. You don't want to just put holes into your work and punch holes in it. You want to protect your work. So you want to get plastic sheet protectors. Okay. They come with tabs on them. I recommend that you buy the tabs you can slide and stick on because maybe you only want 3 categories. You want to space them out, or you want 8 and you want them all to be kind of evenly down here, spaced out. Okay. Another thing you want to do is buy some paper that has a border. And as the bottom left, you can see that because what you're going to do is through your portfolio, not only put the same on the cover, you're going to put your name and maybe the word portfolio. And then every section inside is going to have a tab, which is going to be typed, by the way. And then you're going to use this paper so that there's a theme that carries through with the paper. And you're going to print out the same font and the same size font for all of your sections of your portfolio. Okay, so just some of the things that you'll need. It costs, I did this at Staples, about $30. You can probably get it cheaper at Amazon or somewhere else. So you may want to even just buy them in stages. You don't necessarily need the tabs right now, but you might want to get the notebook and the plastic sheet protectors to get started. And the next time you're, on Amazon, go and get the border for the paper and so forth. Okay, so these are the kind of things that you would need to put it together. So why do we want to create a portfolio? Why would this be important? Well, here's why. You're this light bulb that's lit up. Everybody else has a cover letter and a resume. You have a cover letter, a resume, and a portfolio. And if you do this, I'm telling you, you will stand out. I have taught well over 1,000 students how to create a portfolio and graded them all. Maybe it's close to 2,000. It's been a lot of students because we had a required process at a school that I worked at, and students had to put it together their sophomore, junior, and senior year, and it was graded every year. And so I've seen a lot of portfolios, and I've seen a lot of students use their portfolios in interviews. And almost always they will come back and say the recruiter was so impressed because I could do my actual work. And I could go on and on with stories about that, but it absolutely will help you stand out in the marketplace. Okay, let's see a couple more things here. Designing your portfolio. Always make sure, again, like your cover letter and your resume, that it's designed for that job description that you're going for. You might have 5 or 6 different resumes. One's for sales, one's for management, one's for a leadership position. And you always want to tailor your products to whatever position you're looking for. So make sure that when you use a portfolio, again, that it's targeted for that position. Identify your strengths. What are your skills? Are you identifying your human skills? Because those are so important. And research will show that employers are looking for people with stronger soft skills than they can find. They can find people with the technical skills, but not everyone has those soft skills. And if you're not sure what those are, you could just go into any Google and type in soft skills. We happen to call them human skills at Post, but it's this. Go learn what those are and start to think about which ones of those are your strength and which ones you need to improve. So here are just some other things to think about that you might want to put in here, and your hobbies and the things that you enjoy doing and what makes you unique. Do you volunteer? You know, and get a couple of things, a pamphlet from that organization or something that you've done, and put that in there. Okay. A couple of things to share with you. I always recommend that you identify your skills first and then go find the artifact to support it. You can just lay out all the artifacts and say, okay, which one demonstrates my ability to do communication skills? But if you're saying communication skills, I'm really good at these 3 things, how would I demonstrate my ability to do public speaking? Okay. And then think, okay, well, I had an outline of the speech that I gave. All right, put that in there. How do I identify that I'm a really good team player and I'm really good at teamwork? Well, go find a project you worked on with somebody. Put something from that in here and describe it. Okay. So what else? Oh, don't underestimate your soft and human skills, your soft skills. Overemphasize. Okay. Make sure they see these in front of you. And when I was creating a portfolio process for students at another organization, we took the NACE top 10 list. NACE is the National Association of Colleges and Employers, and they put out a top list every year of the skills that employers are looking for. So we created the categories and the required categories in the portfolio we wanted the students to do based on those skills. So if that's what the companies want, we're going to have the students deliver portfolios with those as the sections in their portfolio. So you might want to go out and say, you know, if you don't know what that specific employer is looking for, how do you go out and also, you know, just going out and search? What are the skills that are needed for a sales rep? Okay, make sure that those are in your portfolio and on in your cover letter and on your resume. Okay, and also always check with your company. If you're not sure you can take something from the company and put it in there, feel free to ask your supervisor. Don't ever take proprietary information that's really important to a company. Like you don't want to take a company's budget and put it on in your portfolio and then go show it to another company. Okay. Not only will your current company not like it, the other one won't appreciate it either because they think, oh, you're being awfully casual with some really sensitive information. So stop and think about what you're putting in there. If you want to put in a budget, to put in dummy numbers. You could just say, this is the process I go through. This is the kind of budget that I work with. These numbers are not the numbers for my company, but I just wanted to demonstrate the process and my abilities to use this Excel or whatever it may be. Okay. All right. That is it in a nutshell. There are probably about another 15, 20 slides more than that, but I really want to spend tonight talking about the portfolios and what do our portfolios look like? How do we use them? And the kind of things that you can put into them. So I'm going to see if there are any questions before Dr. Wolter starts speaking. Any questions so far? No?
I think the questions or points that were addressed were brought up in the chat where it looks like they were mentioned. I'm just trying to skip back and see if we missed anything. I don't think so.
Okay, that's fine. No problem. Okay.
Yep, looks good.
Okay, great, perfect. So, Mike, I think this is your cue here. I am going to stop sharing because I think we're pretty much at the end of the PowerPoint anyway here. And here's my stop sharing button. And then, Mike, if you would like to come on and show them your portfolio and talk about the process and what you did and why you created it.
Sure. I thought I saw a couple of hands. I thought I saw Heidi's hand up.
Oh, I see one as well, too.
Oh, they've gone down.
Okay. Oh, all right. Does anybody have a question before we go into the next section? Are you glad to answer? I don't have my glasses on, so I can't read names. I'm so sorry.
Far, looks like good.
There we go. Looks like Heidi does have a question.
Okay.
So
there's
I'm going
Heidi,
to.
but there's a number one too here.
Yep. Avocard too. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna let them go first. Let me just allow them to their mic, and then Heidi, you'll be next. Okay, Avocard, you're all set. Go ahead and take yourself off mute and be able to send your question. And just a reminder, you're still on mute. There you go.
Yes.
Welcome.
I just trying to say, I just jump in. I just ran up late, so if I can just get a little resume for the workshop of
Yes.
today.
Yeah, so what we're doing, so we're going to go ahead and have a recording of that. That'll be available in the chat after we're done. And we're also going to post that on our YouTube page coming up soon.
All right. Thank
Great.
you.
You got it.
And
Thank you. Go ahead,
David,
Dawn.
how about the recording from last week as well?
Also is going to be up on the YouTube page too.
Perfect, because there's a
Yep.
lot more information in that one.
Yeah,
This was
we're gonna
really
have
summary today.
we'll have all three of them, and what we'll do, Dawn, is we'll put them in one section for you since we run this. This was a big part of career, so I'm going to do a career specific one with everything broken up from career day and this. So I'll make sure those go in there.
Great.
And
Thank you so
wonderful.
much.
Sure. And Heidi, you are up. I have your mic off, or let's see, I think I did. Yep, there you go. So you can let yourself off mute whenever you're ready. I hear some static, Heidi, but I don't hear anything else. See if your mic works or something. It looks like you're off
Okay.
mute. So. There we go. Gotcha. Go ahead.
Is it good? Okay.
You're good now.
Well, my question is like, so you'd want to do a portfolio for, let's say you're going to do 2 different interviews. You'd want that portfolio to be specifically for that position, right?
Correct. Yep. So I would
Okay.
say, position number one, what kind of position is and what do you think that they most want to see from your background? And you can pick up those cues from the job description, the job announcement that they put out that you use to apply.
Yeah.
Go through there and what are those key words that they're saying in there? They want somebody who's a strategic thinker. They want somebody who can communicate with others. They want somebody who can be a good team player. And those are the key words that you want to make sure are coming up in your portfolio and your cover letter and your resume. And then if you're going for another job and maybe they want more analytical skills and computer skills or technology skills, then put those kind of things in your portfolio. Maybe take out some of the others. You can still keep some of the soft skills in there, if you will, because those are still valuable, but maybe more items on the technology skills that you have, because that's what that company seems to be looking for. So you don't have to do just technology skills, but that might be the focus, and then add some other things that you think they might want. So yes, I would make it specific every time that you actually want to use it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Okay, any other questions?
Looks like we're good for right now, unless I'm missing somebody.
Perfect. Okay. Mike, you're up.
Hi, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Can everyone hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Sounds good, Mike.
Excellent. So thank you for coming out on a Wednesday night. It's awesome. It's appreciate great turnout too. This is a great number of students. So, so a big thing about portfolios, like Dean Sherman was talking about, it provides a great evidence of what you have and what you can do when you're doing an interview process. The one thing I like to bring up, so like for instance, someone brought up in the chat in terms of, in this modern day and age, where here we are doing video conferencing and in talking over video, it's kind of hard to provide a tangible thing like a hard copy. So that's where those e-portfolios work really well, especially if you're doing your initial interview. You can send over a link from the e-portfolio they have, whether you use a Google Drive. As a student at Post, you have Office 365, which has a nice level. I think it's 50 gigs of space on your OneDrive account, so you can create your own portfolio on there and send over the link during these type of virtual video interviews that you have. But the nice part about having these hard copy things with you when you go to your an actual physical in-person interview is you actually have something tangible. The person, when you leave the room, you leave the interview, they have something tangible with them. So especially when you do the interview process, how many people here have done like a rigorous like hour-long interview before at a place? Has anyone ever done? Okay, I got a couple of thumbs up, hands up. So a lot of information is given out. They ask a lot of questions. They go over and they want to know who you are, everything about you, your history. And, as much as you're trying to throw out all this information in a short amount of time to prove that you're the ideal candidate, you're hoping that they remember all that stuff. So that's where this hard copy comes in when you go in, because now it's a tangible evidence. So when they're sitting back as a panel reviewing the the candidates and they say, what did David say in that interview? Do you remember? Oh, that's right. He did X, Y, and Z at this company. Just open up his portfolio. There it is. Versus people not sure, they're going back and forth, they're trying to question it. They have the evidence in hand. Yes, do you spend money on this, and do you hand it over to, an interview, and, something like this could cost, 10, $20 to send over. But think of it this way, having $20 on this type of portfolio and then leaving it and guaranteeing that you're going to help get a job in the long term, it's the best $20 you'll ever spend in portfolio development. Because, if that $20 gives you the upper hand, take it, run with it, use it. I mean, that's the best thing to do with it. When it comes to developing a portfolio, I think someone asked about, are the portfolios designed specific to a job? Yes. So as a case in point, when you look at mine and you see how big this binder is, this is 20 plus years of work experience. So no one's expecting you to sit here and like, oh, I have like 12 pages. That is fine. This is the start of your adventure. Me, I'm more halfway through my adventure, so I'm going to have more here. So don't look at this and go, oh, I have no way I'm going to compare to this. This is 20 years of lots of weird, crazy adventures and jobs that I've had along the way. But what I did was when I applied for my original job at Post for the assistant dean role, I specifically, went out and bought an orange binder because Post school colors are orange and purple. So I had two different interview panels. One interview panel got the purple one. The other interview panel got the orange one. So that way it showed that I understood the college a little more. But also, like Dean Sherman said about creating the front page, I actually went off and got the school logo, and then I put, my name on it. So it also, from a psychological standpoint, they're looking at it that there's my name with the school logo. There's a connection that, wow, he's already part of it. He's here. So as much as you're interviewing, you're also playing, I guess we'd say, a little bit of a psychological warfare type thing of trying to get into the interview process. They're going to already attribute your name to the company, and boom, all there. So that's setting up. But also, your name's there and all that. So the great part is, though, if I wanted to, go to, another place, I could just, or another job at Post, pull this out, put another one in, and the portfolio looks completely different. The nice part about the 3-ring binders, it's a 3-ring binder. You just click, take the paper out, I can get another color. If I wanted to put this on the purple one, if Post changes their colors to some other, blue and red 10 years from now, and I want to apply for assistant provost, boom, there you go. It's easy. It's moldable for that. I think someone asked in the interview, in the chat, are these more important than resumes? Well, the first section after my table of contents is my resume. Just think of this as, a guide to who you are and what you bring to the table. Now, the best thing about designing your portfolio, whether it's online, in an e-format or in a hard copy like this, have a table of contents. When I did mine, I have table of contents. I also have, binder, dividers as well too. So it breaks things up, because the most things when you're interviewing, when people are interviewing, they're not just interviewing a couple of people, they're going through a lot of people, a lot of information. The easier you can make it for them to find the information in your binder and who you are, the better. Have a table of contents. It doesn't have to be anything fancy like mine. It's literally what the topic is, like Dean Sherman was talking about the various topics in your portfolio and what page number it can be found. And then I have it on the various binder tabs right there that breaks it up. So they want to say, hey, I want to see what kind, what his references are. Boom, there's my references. What's his, what has he done for writing samples? Boom, there we go. It opens it up that way. Do we have any questions coming in the chats? That I'm trying to look at both and talk at the same time. Oh, okay. The nice part about breaking this up and having this in the various sections, as Dean Sherman was saying, you can take something out and put it back in. So let's say this is my academic aspect of what my portfolio is designed for higher ed. If I wanted to leave higher ed and go into IT, I have an IT background. So, I would take out parts of, designing academic curriculum, the classes I've taught, sample presentations, but then I would focus on, using, Blackboard and development that way. I would rearrange some of these items in here as well to the order of preference, and then adjust the table of contents. The best part is, if you're applying to multiple fields, like if you have more of a business administration degree where you have multiple fields you can apply to versus just marketing or just child studies, where there's one type of industry you're focusing on, your portfolio is going to stand out to it. You can have multiple versions of this. And that's the best part of it is you can, when you go somewhere, you can just carry it around with you. There has been times when, as an example for this job, I was working in the registrar's office at Post when I originally heard about, the assistant dean role. And at the time, Dean Bauer came to me and said, hey, would you be interested in this position? I go, yes, I would. And I went to my bookshelf and I go, by the way, here's some light reading for you. Why I go get my resume and submit it to. I had it right there. And that helps as well too, because he already got to know a little bit more about me at that time because I bring this around. I see Sarah has her hand up, or is her screen frozen?
I think that's a frozen screen.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
just want to make sure.
It was frozen just a second ago. I'm not sure. I'm going to try taking her off mute just in case. See if what's happening there.
Her hand's been up for a while, so I don't know if she still has a question.
Got it. I saw hers frozen. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, Jerry just said her screen is frozen. Okay. The other part when designing, especially when you're looking at the portfolio aspect from a hard copy like this, and you want to transfer it over to the digital format, is you're also backing it up. So as an example, Dean Sherman was talking about have a box, keep all the documents you have. That's something I've been doing for not really a box. It's actually the bottom drawer of my filing cabinet. But when I do things, drop it in there. There's another important thing. But down the line, I'm also scanning those documents in. So I have a PDF version of those. And then I upload them to my eProfile. If, for instance, it's an email copy that I have as well, too, I will print out the email. So I have it for my hard copy, but then I'll electrically save the email to my digital one as well, too. So there's different elements of that. So at any time, worst case scenario, because let's say, how many people have kids at home? Anyone have kids at home? Okay, we got some hands going up.
Yeah.
I have a lovely 3-year-old that we like to nickname the Tyrant because he decides to run the household. If he found this would be colored, this would be ripped, this would be cut, this would be designed in different ways, and this would be completely ruined. So, you don't want this to be the sole way of, maintaining all your documentation. So what I do with that is, I have the hard copy, but then I also back it up on my external drive, or I use my Google Drive, and I have it there as well too. So in case he finds this, it's always there. You don't want to have that one, your precious family picture that you leave out and then something happens to it and you can never make a copy of it again. You always want to back it up. The other element of when you're doing the e-portfolio process of this as well is when you have it online, at any time you can arrange things. You can drag and drop, add new things all the time. And then when you do it, print them out and add them to your binder. In interview processes that I've done in the past, both as giving interviews and actually being the candidate for interviews as well too, there have been times as part of my e-portfolio, I've actually recorded a quick video snippet of introducing myself as well too. Like for instance, as Dean Sherman was saying before, people want to get to know you, learn a little bit more about you. So you talk, within the legal limits of what you want to share in an interview. You don't always have to say you're married, you have kids, because those aren't protected questions that people can't ask in an interview. But you can say, I'm very excited. I have 20 plus years of experience in this. I've done that. But they also can to see a little bit of who you are. They see the excitement in your voice when you talk. They can see you light up. So a big part of the interview process, I think I put this in the chat before to somebody else, but when you're interviewing, this is great. This has a lot of information about you, but on the other side of it, it's static. It's a piece of paper. Like when you're texting somebody or sending an email to somebody, tone can get lost. And, personality can get lost in the process. Having a digital recording of who you are and posting it online, into your portfolio brings you to life, brings this material to life that, they want to see in an interview process, but also something they can go back to. Look at the excitement in her eyes when she's talking. Look how happy, they are. That's a happy person. We want a happy person here, those type of things. And it translates when you're job searching. A company is, from all the experience of all the my years in being in career services before coming to academics, talking to employers, yes, they're looking for people with skills, but in the back of their head, they're always telling me that I can train somebody to do a job. When I was working with financial employers when I was at my previous institution, they said, honestly, give me an English major who's never done finance, who's has the passion and drive to learn finance. I can work with that versus someone who has a finance degree and it's like, eh. Someone who has the personality makes all the difference. So that's something that, because companies are looking for the right fit. They're looking for personality. Like in times when I've hired people, I would rather go with someone who's a better fit for my team than who like went to like Cornell or MIT or whatever they want to, because it's important. If your team doesn't jive every day, that's going to be more detrimental than everything else. So having that e-portfolio, having those examples of things you've done and who you are makes every difference. How many people on here have a LinkedIn account? It gets really quiet when you ask that question.
I bet many of you do.
Okay, we have Dave applauding. So we have some people with LinkedIn account. All right. So this is the important part on LinkedIn. So, when you have your portfolio, always have a link, link somehow to show your LinkedIn profile as well too. That will get people to go to the digital end of things. Now, Dean Sherman was talking about, have a reference page. So yes, you have your typical reference page when people are talking, you have, the person's name, their phone number, their email address. So, if people want to reach out and say, hey, this person's a great person, that's awesome. But it also shows like 3 or 5 people that on your reference page that talks about it. On LinkedIn, there is a section where you can ask for recommendations. So as you build your network on LinkedIn, the more recommendations you ask for starts building up on your LinkedIn page. So one thing I've done over time with my LinkedIn pages, especially for my portfolio, is I've printed them out and or cut and pasted and put them on Word documents and print them out. So I have multiple variances over my career showing different people. So it's not just one snippet saying, wow, Mike was really good at this last job. This is showing over the course of 20 years, there's consistency with me. So the various employers that I've had, because think of it this way, if you want to apply for a job, you're like, oh, I need to find my supervisor from 10 years ago. They could have moved 10 times over trying to track them down. But if you do this now and start building your, I guess your portfolio on LinkedIn with your testimonials, you can, and recommendations, you can print them out, keep them with you, keep a digital copy with you, so you have them for the next 20 years. So if someone comes in and says, like, I have 20 years of higher ed experience, here's my 20 years on paper of everyone I've ever worked with saying, what I bring to the table. And that's a very important thing to do. So if you have a LinkedIn account, start building that up now. Start connecting with your professors, start with your internships, connect with your internship supervisors as well too. And say, hey, can you put a recommendation on me, or can you comment about what I've done for work? That stuff will go with you for a long time. Even if you're working really hard with your academic, if you go to the Center for Academic Success and work with your the tutors there and support there, they get to know you. They get to know who you are as a person. Those are great elements to put into your LinkedIn testimonials as well too, and then print them out, because not only do they talk about what you bring to the table work-wise, but they get to kind of test it. This is a great person to work with. This is a person has a great personality. Mm-hmm. So that helps too, but it also closes the loop. So you're not having one thing that says something in your portfolio here, and then LinkedIn is saying something else. This closes the loop across the board, and it kind of provides a holistic view of who you are as a person and what you bring to the table. The one part about the portfolio process, like Dean Sherman was saying, she likes to keep, when something's really good, she likes to file away and keep it. This is a conscious effort that you need to do. Now, should you worry about it every day? No. But just like your resume, like as a good habit, like I'm always updating my resume every 6 months. Why? Because it's just one of those things of, there's been new tasks added to me. There's new hats that I wear at work all the time that I want to add to my resume to make sure that, I keep track, versus 10 years from now, if I look for a job and going, what did I do the entire last 10 years as assistant dean? And my head's like ready to explode. Think about it. It's all tracked out. Same thing with your portfolio. Make a conscious effort, like have a folder in your email I call my folder kudos. So anytime I get, something, great job, Mike, or, if a student responds back, thank you for all your help, if it wasn't for you, I never would have graduated. Or my supervisor says, Mike, great job with customer service and blah, 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 blah. I save all those and then keep them. And, at the various jobs, if I leave a job, I print those all out and take them with me as well too. And that's important because just like the testimonials, that's on your LinkedIn, I have a whole different section of just, people sending messages and letters and stuff like that, speaking about the things I've done. I have emails, I have, people from letterheads and stuff like that, just keeping that stuff. So when I need it, I mean, when I worked doing workforce ready and workforce development, one of the things we did at my old institution was actually connecting to the local community. And one of the things we did worked with one of the local magnet schools to bring students in and learn about manufacturing. And we bring the kids in. We had this really cool robot. We showed them how to do robots. We showed them, what you can do with manufacturing, even though they're 8 years old, 10 years from now, when they want to go to college, these are the type of things they'll see. Those kids wrote me thank you letters. Let's see if I can see it in the background here. Handwritten thank you pictures and letters and stuff like that, saying thank you. And I put the pictures of the programs there. That just shows another element, like David Renzo was saying in this thing, the volunteer work, the things you do in the community speak volumes. Now that people are looking at my portfolio and goes, you work with kids too? This is holistic. This looks great. So it gives back to the community. Like, this person can work in various different forms with different populations. This guy can teach in front of a kid, versus someone can teach someone 35. Having that diverse element. So if you think of like, no one's really going to care about that, you'd be amazed at the things that I have in my portfolio that has helped in an interview process. I did web design 24 years ago, when I was working in higher ed in residence life. I did the residence life website. 7 years later, because of a line that I had in my resume and in my portfolio, someone goes, you do web design? I go, well, I used to. So you're comfortable with it? I mean, I can brush up on it a little bit, but sure. They're like, wow, we need that too. By having you do it, we can add to one of your tasks. We just saved into hiring another position. That'd be great. So because of something that I had it in a sample I had with my web designs that I did for the school, helped me land the job because it was a skill set they were also looking for, but didn't know that it wasn't part of the list of the jobs that they had as well too. What kind of questions do we have in the chat? I want to make sure I'm not ignoring any questions.
There's one theme I start to see here, which is people who are looking for people to help them offer the material in their portfolio, finding them in LinkedIn. I think that's a loose example of it. That's certainly the more prominent example right now, being social media, technically a social media vehicle, LinkedIn. But I think the more prominent theme there is thinking about the people who you network with regularly and being able to connect with them. And Mike, I think you may have a take on that too.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of your we'll use your professors as example, for this. A lot of your professors in your Blackboard shells, when it says contact information or meet your instructor, click on that section, because under the bio link that they have, a lot of your professors put in their LinkedIn bio. It allows us as your faculty to show that, yeah, this is what we've done. You can see my education. You can see the places I've worked. I'm just giving you credence to what I'm teaching you in class. But it also gives you a direct connection on LinkedIn. A lot of my students connect with me right away on LinkedIn after that. So then moving on later on, they reach out to me saying, hey, Dr. Wolter, I was in your ethics class 3 years ago. Do you remember me? Yeah, great. Can you write me a recommendation for this thing? Or, hey, can you say something can you do a recommendation for me on LinkedIn? And it builds it up. Just like people used to carry around business cards so much, in the day. What's your LinkedIn profile? Can I look you up? There are apps, with your phone, so you can just tap your phone in and it connects everything up to what you want to do. There's, to connect to your LinkedIn profile. So that's a very good thing, question asked. So if you, for instance, as an example, look me up on LinkedIn anytime you want to connect with me. When you meet with people in these workshops and, with like Dean Sherman and, David Renza, I'm offering up your services here, but like, connect with them as well too and say, hey, are you on LinkedIn? Hey, you've been great with those workshops. Can I connect with you after that? I mean, right now you have 3 professionals who's willing to connect with you on LinkedIn. And then while doing that, you'll see who we're connected to as well too, and say, oh, wow, they know the dean of the business school. Oh, they know the dean of this school. Hey, they know the professor I had 2 years ago. You can start building your network that way as well too. And you'd be amazed at, using my old Italian background, but I kind of know a guy who knows a guy type thing. That's exactly what LinkedIn does. I want to, like, if you're looking for a job in insurance and work on travelers, you go onto my LinkedIn thing and see that I know 7 people, on the top of my list who work at Travelers. Wow, Dr. Wolter, I've been trying to get in here. Do you know somebody? Of course I know. Like, let me make that introduction for you to help you out with that. So that's an important thing to do as well. A lot of these things, like you're doing these workshops, Dean Sherman, when you're done with these, do you get like a certificate saying a certificate of completion or something like that from these type of things?
Not from this one. For those of you who are on here are academic advisors, when we did the career advising training, they got certificates for that. And if you didn't get your certificate, let me know. So there are things that we do, but those are more 12 and 16-hour trainings.
Okay.
So this we don't necessarily, but we can think about it in the future, though. It's something I never really thought about because it's a 3-part series, so we could definitely think about it.
Well, like for instance, like the one you were just talking about, when you get those certificates, those things are important. Print them out. Yep. Because guess where they go? It goes in there. Like, for instance, every training I've gone to, if I do a certificate of completion, I've done ones on, how to do APA, 7th edition. I've done them on how to do universal design for teaching. I've done them on how to, facilitate a group or how to de-escalate a situation and conflict resolution. I print those out. So yeah, you think I'm like, whatever, print them out and use them. I'm going to speak as the business, in the business school right now, but a lot of the business schools have micro credentials built into their classes. So when you do a micro credential and you pass it, they give you a digital certificate. Print that out, because part of that thing is going to connect when you have your qualification sections in your resume. When you say, hey, I have leadership skills, or hey, I have, I have ethical decision making. If there's a certificate or a micro credential that connects to it, it's going to show that he's just not talking about it. He actually passed a standardized credential to do this. So take, when you're, I'm again just speaking for the business school on this part, but if you're in the business classes and you see those micro credentials, they seriously will benefit you, because not only do you have a hard copy you can print out and put in here, but they actually make some really cute, flashy things that automatically connect to LinkedIn, and they'll up there and say, I just passed a new certification on interpersonal skills, and it goes into LinkedIn, built into LinkedIn. So when someone goes to your LinkedIn profile, there it is. Screenshot it, cut it out, put it in a Word document, and then save it for your digital portfolio as well too. And then, very quickly, before you realize it, your portfolio will be this thick. And then, you'll be a force to be reckoned with when you start going into interviews.
Yep.
So I see some hands up.
I was just going to say that I think so. And then if we can have a little time, I'll show you a few things from my portfolio as well too. So who's up first here? Jennifer, I guess.
Looks like Jennifer. I'll help her get off mute or get on, be able to use her mic. Let me just do that. Okay, Jennifer, you can come off mute whenever you're ready.
Oh, yeah, okay. I was just trying to log in. I was already logged in on my phone. I was trying to log in on my desktop. But once I go to workshop, it's not showing me no link to click.
Okay. Well, you're on something right now. You may be on the phone or whatever. It's fine. If you're unable to see or anything, we'll be able to have a YouTube presentation of this in the next few days. But more importantly, after this, you'll see a video in the chat that you can access at that point if you're having trouble. But feel free to hang along with us while we're doing this, and you can get what information you can. So
the other thing I can just share too, I think if you haven't already, if you weren't at the session last week, go take a look at that video from that one, because that'll make a lot of this make more sense. Because a lot of the things we're saying, I think, don't have the context. So go back and watch the first video, and then I think what we're saying tonight will make a lot more sense too.
Okay.
Definitely. Perfect. Oh, great. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Okay. And next up, we're going to go to
I
One
think
second.
Beth,
It's
right?
Beth.
Me.
It's
Yeah,
Beth.
I
I don't
like
need
to.
to unmute you or anything. Look at
Nope,
that.
I just like to insert myself sometimes. I have a quick question, Dawn, because this may be prevalent for certain students, especially as you take psychology classes, if you're a psych major, or a lot of students may just take Psych 101, and you may take a personality test. Would that be something that goes into a portfolio?
Yes,
I
you
would.
absolutely could put that in there. Go ahead.
No, it's like actually I'm Myers-Briggs certified, so that's one of the biggest
Mhm.
things that I have is
Mhm.
that I can provide Myers-Briggs and do the actual presentations and classes, but also by that I also provide my score as well too. There's also things
Mhm.
like Myers-Briggs predictive index.
Mhm.
There's a team dynamics profile. There's DISC,
Focus too. Yes.
DISC, the
Mhm.
focus 2. All those different type of personality tests that tells a company that, wow, this person acts this way, or this person connects with this way, or
Mhm.
if that company is very versed in those
Mhm.
personality profiles, and they know how their team is already designed, they're like, what we're lacking, we're missing this type of person, the analyzer, the analytical person. Wow, look at Beth's, score. That's exactly what we're looking for. Versus
Mhm.
someone else who's more of a leader. Oh, we already have like 6 leader people on this team. We
Mhm.
need somebody who's going to be the analyzer to refine things and make sure that as everyone's looking to the horizon, they're looking down to make sure we're not tripping on the rocks in front of us. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's a perfect thing to do. It's
Mhm.
also a perfect thing to put in, your LinkedIn profile as well too. Like
Mhm.
that little
Mhm.
subheading underneath your name, you can put in, like, for mine, since mine's INFJ.
Mhm.
So it's great for that part. And showing differ them shows
Mhm.
that you understand more about yourself. You're more
Mhm.
self-reflective because you learn a lot about that stuff when you read those. And
Mhm.
then when you bring into those interview processes, like as you see in my portfolio, I am an INFJ. So with that,
Mhm.
I'm very intuitive, but also the J part of me is very methodical. I like to plan things out. I love to-do lists. You should see the colored charted to-do list board that but it goes right into that. They're like, wow, this person's detail
Yeah.
oriented, they're focused. I know, if they know Myers-Briggs, they're going to be like, oh, this person is, likes, the structure that they have. And
Mhm.
that tells a lot about them as well. And that
Mhm.
helps
Mhm.
because if you don't know what to talk about yourself, when they say, Beth, so tell me a little bit about yourself right now. And that first part of the interview, you're like, I like long walks on the beach. I like Diet Coke.
Mhm.
Great. This can say, well, as you know, see in my online portfolio, I'm an INFJ. With that, I'm a little bit of an introvert, but that's how I get my energy. But I also like to think through the process. It allows you to have such a script for the first part of your introduction that you don't have
Mhm.
to have that freezed moment of, what
Mhm.
do I do?
Yeah,
And
have that.
that's something you can add to your video portfolio as well too.
The other thing is anytime you're taking any personality assessments or personal assessments, don't go and make big decisions on the results from one of them. What you want to look at is what is the theme across all of these. So maybe you've taken 3 or 4, and there's a lot of free ones online you can take too. And you might want to put a description in there. Here are the results from 2 of the surveys I took, but I took a total of 6. And the theme was I like to work with people. I'm a people person. And I'm an I'm an ENFP is what I am. So that E really stands out. And I like leadership and I like working with people and teams and collaborating. And on the PI schedule, I'm a collaborator. I like to work with people and get things done. So pull all it's the theme through those kind of assessments, because I always caution people going, I took this one assessment, it says I ought to be a biology major, I'm going to go change my major today. No, time out. Take a look at the theme of what these are saying, and does it make sense to you? Because it doesn't even make sense. It doesn't have any meaning. So think about what that looks like on a larger scale. So a couple of
Can
other
I just jump in with what someone
yeah.
posted real quick as a comment? They asked, where can I find these? So yeah, there's free ones online, but if, for instance, if you're in if any of your programs take Management 105 from the business school, Management 105 has a whole Myers-Briggs element to it where you actually take the test, and I actually come in and do the entire breakdown of your score with you and for the class as well too. So if you have a free elective as well too, and I definitely suggest taking the Management 105 class because it
Mhm.
provides you that insight as well too. So when you walk away, you'll have your score, you'll have the assessment, and you'll have how it connects to your work environment too. So
Mhm.
free plug for the management program.
Yeah.
But if you're in a program that doesn't have Management 105, but you have that open Gen Ed elective, go for it. It's totally
Mhm.
worth it to have that, that just walk away with that assessment.
I'm certified to do MBTI as well too. So I just wanted to take a minute, if there's no questions right now, just to show you a couple things in my portfolio, because our portfolios are different. And I just wanted to give you a sense of that. So I know some of you may need to go, it's 8:01, but if you can just, I'll try to just take 2 or 3 minutes and do it. So as I did show you the cover of my portfolio, I just wanted to show you how I used color through some of this. Like Michael just said, I have a table of contents. I have my resume, my CV, actually it's about 10 pages long. Put it on resume paper. If you don't know what resume paper is, you can go to Amazon, type in resume paper. It's heavier, it's thicker, it'll look nicer than just using the white. I also put my transcripts in here for my graduate programs. You can go and pay them, get $10, and they're not official, but that's okay. Shows your grades. So I put my transcript in here. I put in some of the different things I've worked in, like academic affairs. I worked in for about 15, maybe 20 years. I did teaching. I put in evaluations from the courses. I put in some of the course outlines that I taught or the ones that I created. So I did a variety of things, but I want to show you how I used color. I led a trip to China with students back in 2008. So I put in here the brochure that we used. And then over here, if you can see, I put in some pictures. Here are the students in China. And then I put in a little description a little bit further on about some of the things we did in China, what the students learned, what the value was of going to this country, and so forth. So don't be afraid to use pictures. Don't be afraid to use color. If you're putting in a table or a graph or something, put it in color. There's some courses that I designed, 401 credit courses in career development. I just put some yellow behind them just to add a little color. I put the Nichols College logo at the top because that's where I did those. So think about color, because it will be far more interesting for someone to read it than if it is all just black and white. Here was a picture of some of my teaching assistants. We took them to dinner after the end of the semester from teaching. I put their picture in here. I put a little description about what I taught them, what their training was like, how valuable they were in the classes, and so forth. Here's an example of a certificate. That those courses that I created won an award from the University of Wisconsin. Honor. So that was fun. So think about what you're doing. Also, as I mentioned, you have tabs, and I said type your tabs. You don't want to handwrite them. You want this to look professional. What I recommend is you don't just cut out the piece of paper. I mean, go to a document and type out your 8 topics or whatever you have, your 5 sections. Don't just cut right around them and slide them in here, because I promise you they'll fall out. Cut up the paper a little bit bigger, fold it, cut right around it and slide it in. Just by folding that paper, making this a double layer of paper, your tabs won't fall out. Even though I did that, I have 1 tab that I don't have. It did fall out somewhere. So make sure the tabs are in there securely, okay? I'm just going to see if here's something I did. I belong to a lot of professional organizations. So I just got the logo from those organizations. I typed up the name of them. I put it on a sheet of paper. Then I did a little description that said I belong to a variety of different organizations, most of them in student affairs and career development. And I joined because, and this is what I get out of it, and so forth. Okay. Here was an article that was written about that program I created. It was in the Chronicle of Higher Ed, on the front page of the Chronicle, which is our biggest newspaper in higher ed. And it was a little bit of the article. And then I wrote a little bit about that experience of having this article published in the Chronicle of Higher Education. So this is one of the actual newspapers I cut and put in here. So talking about an original artifact, this is it. It's the actual newspaper itself. And then a handwritten note from the author of it, who thanked me for allowing her to come to campus and to interview us about this. And these are the next 2 pages as well, about the Chronicle of Higher Ed in the newspapers themselves. So think about putting in, as I said, the real article, putting in a little bit of color. If you're going to print out a graph or a chart or something, put it in color. Make it look interesting. Okay. I had a student say one time, this young man said, I'm at a disadvantage because I don't know how to scrapbook. So how can I build a portfolio that's going to look nice? It's not scrapbooking. Yes, you can use color, but it's not that artistic scrapbooking kind of, it's really putting this together professionally. So just one more, here's another way that I used color This was a conference that I created, a one-day conference, and I used color to just kind of highlight that conference that I designed about women in business. Okay, so I will stop there. I will just say at the end I have references. Again, as Dr. Wolter said, I have a list of my references, and then I have several people who have written references, and I put them all in here. I put in all my artifacts front and back in these plastic sheet protectors, so these will be protected for a very long time. I don't want to take more time because I know it's 8:06 and you want to go, but I want to just show you a little bit about it, what it can look like. I hope you can go to the first session if you didn't attend, because I think it'll help fill in some of the questions you might have. And then please know next week we're talking about how do you take this document now and actually use it in an interview. And in that we'll do some role play so we can really kind of emphasize what to do, what not to do. There's nothing written about it, although I wrote an article about how to use the portfolio, but I just based all these do's and don'ts on with the hundreds of recruiters that I worked with and the hundreds and not thousands of students who use their portfolios and develop their portfolios and their experience and what I heard from recruiters and what I heard from students about what worked and what didn't work. So I'll share some of that with you next time, and that's what the topic will be. All right, I'm going to stop talking. Are there any questions?
And while you aren't talking, I am just going to let everyone know I am dropping the survey link as well as all of our general help supports that we usually send out. I know this workshop wasn't exactly that, but it is still midterms week, so I want everybody thinking about that. So so survey link will be the first link. Let us know how we did. If this is a session that you're like, or this is a series, if this was your first time attending this series or the first part of the series that you attended, did you like it? Is it beneficial? Let us know, let Dawn know, because we want to build on this for later sessions.
Yes.
And then otherwise, all other information will be dropped. And again, the recording will be dropped in the chat as well once everybody has left the meeting.
Thank you. I also just want to say, if you are building a portfolio or you have any questions, please reach out. It's just dsherman@post.edu. So feel free to ask me questions. I'm passionate about career development. I've been working in career development since 1999. Worked with portfolios for 15 years with students directly, indirectly since. Please let me know. This is what I get really excited about, is helping students get ready for their careers. So please feel free to reach out anytime. Thank you all. Thank you all for coming tonight. I was thrilled to have so many of you here.